Welcome to Eternal Elements Learning Podcast, brought to you by Atyasa Online. These podcasts are a part of the audio certificate programs on Atyasa Online. You're free to take these podcasts on your desired portal also, should you only wish to learn on the go. Thank you so much for engaging on these podcasts, and you can connect with the author on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Hi, welcome back. This is Niket Karajagi from Eternal Elements, brought to you by Atyasa Online. We talk about strategy, we talk about strategy formulation, we talk about strategy implementation. And the focus, of course, is both domestic as well as international markets. We talked about long-term objectives, irrespective of the size of the organization. We need to determine certain actions which will ensure long-term sustainability of the organization, and those are our long-term objectives. Objectives, like I said, are tactics used to achieve the goals. The short-run goal is obviously profit, but the long-run goal is sustainability of the organization. While we talked about long-term objectives, we did discuss Balanced Scorecard, and we talked about 4 specific areas that Balanced Scorecard focuses on: financial, internal business process, learning and growth, and customer, while aligned to the vision and the mission of the organization. And obviously, the Balanced Scorecard is also aligned to the strategy. One of the aspects of achieving our long-term objectives is the generic strategies that Michael Porter talked about. He talked about low-cost leadership. He talked about differentiation. He talked about focus. However, when we talk about grand strategies, obviously, we're looking at something major in life. It goes beyond pricing. It goes beyond economies of scale. It talks about a proposition that the organization is looking forward to. Mostly, grand strategies focus on the operational excellence for sure. They also focus on how do we create customer advocacy. And while these two are being talked about, we also talk about certain aspects of product and product development, because we have to manage the product life cycle for sure. Now, if we have to look at operational excellence, if we have to look at our product, if we have to look at customers as the point where we need to maintain our contact, we need to have a master plan ready. The master long-term plan, which gives a direction to the organization to achieve its long-term objectives. It's a master plan, are called the grand strategies. Now, why are they called a master plan? They're also called the business strategies because they provide basic direction for the strategic actions. They are the coordinated and sustained efforts which are directed towards accomplishment of these long-term business objectives. As we move through the discussion of the grand strategies, we will elaborate on them. However, it will satisfy this podcast if we were to look at the 15 principal grand strategies that are talked about in strategic management. We have the concentrated growth. That's one. Second, we have the market development. Third, we have the product development. Fourth, we have the innovation. Fifth, we have the horizontal acquisition. Sixth, we have the vertical acquisition. 7, concentric diversification. 8, conglomerate diversification. 9, turnaround. 10, divestiture. 11, liquidation. 12, bankruptcy. 13, joint ventures. 14, strategic alliances. And 15, consortia. To make life easy, I'm going to bucket them so that the conversations in the podcast can become a lot more enlightening in their own way. It's important to understand that no firm could actually engage in only one grand strategy over a long term, because you will have to change your grand strategies as you move through the journey of business. Depending on the type of organization that you are, and depending on the way your business strategy operates, whether it's a single organization or multiple business units, you may decide to implement a particular grand strategy, or you may want to involve multiple grand strategies. But definitely, every organization must have a long-term strategy, or a grand strategy, or a business strategy, because only generic strategies are not going to help you. If you only have a generic strategy and you don't have a master strategy available, then obviously you're going to play on price. If you only have a master strategy available, but you don't have generic strategies available, you don't know where differentiation would happen, you don't know what pricing to operate on. But when you operate on both, that's when the probability of accomplishment of long-term objectives is defined. So, one, you have to look at each of the grand strategies independently. Two, depending on the way the market is and depending on the different markets that you want to get into, you may choose to implement different grand strategies. And when I talk about international business, in international business, depending on the country that you operate in, you may choose to have different grand strategies at play. Therefore, it's important to master all the 15 grand strategies. We're all set to move into discussion of each of the grand strategies. Thank you very much. This is Niket Karajagi signing off from Eternal Elements. See you in the next podcast.